It is Sunday, the 2nd of May 2021. I'm having a look at the major commodities. I'm going to start off with gold. So gold is effectively flowing to the upside. I'm just going to mention here that the 50, 20, and 10 moving averages have reordered. This was just a recent trade setup that I took one-to-one, and I think it was just a nice demonstration of the peace of mind, I guess, that comes with. Usually I'm looking for 3-to-1s, but in this case I wasn't really willing to kind of commit to any longer-term views on gold. It was really nice to see tap me out, bank the profit, and then pretty much pull back. So when I have a look at it on the monthly basis, technically we have lower highs and lower lows. We have a downtrend. We've also broken below 1800, and we're coming back up and potentially testing that. I do feel though that if we can close up above that, that will potentially start to move back up to the upside. We do still again. In particular, what looked really good on the weekly was just this very nice kind of double bottom price rejecting that 1680 level or 1700, if depending on how you view it, rejecting that level and then coming up and sort of shifting from this downtrend and attempting to climb back up. So again, in this particular case, we've got the moving averages at a bearish formation. So really what I'm looking for this coming week is to see where the gold, which way it's looking to go. Again, also gold is also at a bit of an inflection point. It's not just the US dollar, and it isn't that they're always correlated. It just so happens that right now gold is also there. It just kind of hints at you could argue and say, well, listen, it hints at uncertainty, but at the same time, you could also say that, listen, the market's at fair value right now. In other words, the market doesn't feel that it needs to go anywhere else. It feels that the price the market's at currently is acceptable to both the buyers and sellers. And so that's what I'm looking to see if we do, if the daily does find some support off these previous highs at 1755 and then attempts to come back from that and push higher and then go back over that 1800. If that is the case, then I'm going to start to become more and more bullish on gold in the coming weeks, and we'll take it from there. So I really have to just see how that unfolds. Let's have a look at silver by comparison. So silver here just really again battling with its $26 level there. It looks very interesting to me. It does look potentially bullish on that monthly time frame, and no doubt there is some strong resistance at $30, and we could be at the beginning of something that we'll only likely see unfold in possibly at the end of the year or early 2022 if we are building up to a breakout pattern here. That could take a while to kind of unfold. That would be January or February 2022. If that's going to be the case, we're going to take another run up to that. We'll have to see how that goes. Palladium again has been actually trending beautifully, managed to work its way through the strong band of resistance which it's been battling through for a while, burst through that beautifully, came back, kind of effectively retested it here, and then has continued to trend up for a while, and it really was a star performer here. And again, I think I'm happy to have this on my list because I do think there's some good opportunities there, nice and bullish. And copper also, though, although copper is obviously quite overextended on the monthly basis, it really looks good on the weekly. It's sort of coming up to the top of that channel, so any kind of corrections or retracements on the weekly, perfectly acceptable, but it looks good. Overall, again, I like the opportunities there to the upside. So that's copper. Platinum. And so let's just move these both up here. I'm not sure what reordered that, but yeah, so having a look here at platinum, not as appealing, not as popular at this point, and certainly overextended here. It looks like it's really struggling in this area. I guess long story short, this just doesn't look appealing to me in terms of trading opportunities. Okay, and so we've had a look at copper, we've had a look at palladium. They look really good. They're the most attractive. Moving on to oil, so let's look at West Texas US oil. Really, it's sitting between sort of two key levels here. Both 60 and 65 are significant levels, price levels, and although it is attempting to break out, I wouldn't really expect to see much of it, or at least to see it as viable until it breaks above that 65. If it can break and retest it and then continue moving to the upside, that is fantastic. And that's really all there is for me right now. It's very close. Any buy opportunities for me here are high risk because there's not enough profit before we get up to 65, and so I'm not invested in this either way. If it does ultimately fall this week and then breaks below 60, then I'll potentially next week then have a look at it from a different angle, but I'm not seeing any opportunities here. So it will only get my interest once we break above 65, and then I'll be looking for buying opportunities there. Brent UK oil, also a nice little uptrend on that daily. The weekly looking a little bit lost at the moment, and the monthly, of course, starting to push up a little bit overextended. But kind of when I look at this, I feel like it's got some good room to go up to 74 at least, based off these previous highs. And if I want to be pedantic, 72. But the point is, it has still got some room to go, and therefore I feel like this is where it should be. We'll see how it handles this resistance level here, but similar to the US to West Texas, I feel like it has got that. There's no reason why it shouldn't potentially attempt to climb higher. Then moving on to Bitcoin. So Bitcoin is starting to stall a little bit. It is obviously massively, massively overextended. It's produced a bit of an indecision candle here, and it's only break below the low of last month's, or at least break below the low of April's candle, would signify to me perhaps a bit of a swing high and therefore a bit of a correction down towards the 40,000 or 30,000 level, potentially even further, but I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt and say there's a lot of buyers that are waiting to get in. Obviously it's in a bubble, and the reason we know this is because every single person you run into on the street is like, what do you think about cryptos, what do you think about Bitcoin, what do you think about Ethereum, and so on and so forth. So that's how you know. Anyway, so looking to see this kind of come down into that 40,000 level. Ideally would be a very nice healthy correction and present buying opportunities even down towards 30,000. Those would be great for me in terms of technically, and whether I go for any shorter term trades to the downside, then I'd have to see how price reacts there. Then Ethereum, look, just beautiful. I mean, this daily chart is just amazing in terms of that. The weekly certainly overextended. The monthly absolutely overextended. Looks like it really wants to just tap that 3,000 level, if nothing else. Nice big round number. And it's only, but any nice bearish candles that form here over the next month or two would also support the idea that there's going to be a bit of a correction. It's absolutely massively overvalued at this point in time, and I would say that its true value at the moment is probably lying closer towards 1,500, perhaps a little bit lower than that. Anywhere between 2,000 and 1,500 would be more appealing to me. Okay, and that's really it in terms of those. There are certainly, compared to say currencies, dollar CAD looking, I quite like the look of that. Gold and silver, I'm just kind of want to see what happens with them. Oil as well, but they are all principally looking nice and bullish. Copper and palladium might offer some opportunities, and then in terms of the digital commodities with regards to Bitcoin or Ethereum or any of the others, they are looking relatively nice and bullish on the daily, but they're also starting to show some signs of weakness on the monthly when they're overextended. And so I'm just prepared for the idea, certainly for trading opportunities, shorter term trades to the upside, but the risk is definitely higher, and therefore my risk per trade is going to be lower on that, and again taking profits sooner. And that's it for me. Thank you very much.